What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Tasty Tuesday on Tasty Loot Gaming, the show where we talk about gaming news. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And a quick reminder to play Knack and Rhyme, both on PlayStation Plus. Make sure to download those, play those, come back to the end of the month for Plus Club. We'll be telling you our opinions on those games. Let us know yours. And game of the month is Ark Survival Evolved. Well-known caveman versus dinosaur Minecraft build shit survive type game. Really fun. We are gonna get around to playing it eventually. We've been waiting on that one, but I believe we have both played Knack and Rhyme at least, so we're making progress. Hopefully you guys are as well. With that, also make sure to join the Discord. Come talk to us anytime. Post wherever the hell you want. We get into some pretty interesting conversations on there, so make sure to do that. But with that, we have 3 bits of news. One's a pretty hefty one at the end we'll be talking about. But with that, let's get into the first topic.
So, UK studio Automaton Games is developing a game called Mavericks Proving Grounds, which is going to be multiple games, but the one of note that we're going to be talking about is a 400-player battle royal game. It is supposed to be set in a 12-kilometer squared living and breathing world, or just shy of 7.5 miles. And it'll have dynamic events such as wildfires that spread and more. One other thing to mention about the game is it's supposed to come out this year, and it has a MMO mode to it as well, which supports 1,000 concurrent players in ultra high fidelity world instance coming in 2019. What do we think about this? And does it sound like something you'd be interested in?
They also say that they want to show people there's much more to this genre than people have seen already, and they're going to be able to do a lot more. We're still early in this genre in the way it's building, so I think there's absolutely room for it. I'm I won't say I'm excited, but I'm really interested in see what they're going to do. The thing that really piques my interest here is 2 things. First off, the kind of active environment events happening. That's really cool. That's something that I would really like to see in any of these type of games. The idea of like being able to start like a wildfire or anything happening to kind of change up the monotony of apparently people aren't think it's too monotonous, but like the monotony of like going to the same island and fighting random people and trying to survive. This will create a new element to a fight that might change how it might have ended up otherwise. Also, the 1,000 concurrent player MMO that this is also going to be is very confusing to me. I mean, obviously they're already making a big map, so I mean, the possibilities there, but we haven't seen a game do this really.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting to see what they mean by that, because that's a pretty loose term forever now. MMO pretty much means any game that's online where you're playing with people. It used to mean something different. So it's like them saying it's going to be an MMO that supports up to 1,000 people. 1,000 people thing, that's really interesting. But what is it going to be? And then also it's 400 people. So they're upping it by 4 times of what you're used to. This is either going to be really fucking cool or really fucking shitty. I remember when MAG came out, it upped the player count of what you'd get in a Battlefield type game significantly, and it was pretty cool. But like, they couldn't support that many people. Like they couldn't get that much people into a room. So you normally got into a room of like 100 people. So this, I'm curious. This game's got to be really popular. It's got to really take off, and they're releasing at the right time.
Oh yeah.
But to get a room full of 400 people, that's gonna be quite the task. It's also gonna take more time to wait to get the room filled, all that kind of shit. So there's a couple things they're gonna have to work on with that. But I'm actually really interested in this. This sounds super ambitious.
I mean, if they end up getting numbers like PUBG and Fortnite, the 400 and the wait time or whatnot is not going to be such a factor. But yeah, right off the bat, they're going to have to advertise it crazy to get people to come to it. Otherwise, I could see that failing out the door, which sucks. But it is ambitious, and I'm glad people are pushing, because it takes people trying things to create new innovative ideas. So that's pretty cool, especially if you're into the genre. I have a hard time with it, but I do appreciate it. I actually think it's fun to watch, which is great.
Yeah.
I also am curious about what they mean by MMO, because like you said, that terms thrown around used to just mean massively multiplayer online.
I mean, this could be like a cooperative experience where you're still running around shooting shit and
right,
maybe get currency. That could be technically an MMO.
Yeah, I guess it has the MMO part is supposed to be strong character progression, social hubs, intelligent mission systems, global scale player driven narrative. I hate when people say that though, because that never works out that way.
No, never. Not yet, at least.
I mean, we'll see. I think it's something to keep an eye on though, because they're doing something no one else is doing. They are kind of taking the Fortnite approach, making 2 games in one, which I think is smart.
Fortnite's fucking killing it.
Yeah,
So
because even like I have Fortnite and I don't touch the battle royale part of it.
you don't touch the other part of it either. But if you did play it, you probably would.
Well, I play it every once in a while, but not the way like you do. And it's fun enough. I will say, at least from this little screenshot we got here, the environments look gorgeous. So, but yeah, I guess we'll just kind of see.
Definitely, and yeah, I mean, to piggyback off that a little bit too, like having another type of game within the game already will draw in even more people. Someone like you could potentially, if they did it right, play this game and not do the battle royal, because I know you're not going to be interested in doing that at all. It's also coming out like you said this year, so I mean it's not that far away. So I mean, time will tell when it comes out, but I mean, I think we're both in agreement that it sounds interesting.
For sure.
Cool. Let's know in the comments. What do you think about another battle royale game? Are you getting sick of these? Are you welcoming another one? What do you think about 400 players? And what do you think the MMO mode would be? Do you know anything about this that we don't? And let me know your thoughts on Mavericks. Do you think it's a Jake Paul game? Or Logan? Which one's the one? Someone's into Mavericks. Fuck him.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Second bit of news: Xbox is essentially confirming something they've been talking about for a while. They are adding mouse and keyboard support to the Xbox One. They've been talking about for a while. They said it's definitely coming soon, but they kind of discussed it a little bit more. They said that this will still only be if the developer wants to allow access to that, meaning that if you're playing Call of Duty and you're worried someone else is going to get a mouse and keyboard in their hands and they're just going to start wiping the floor with everybody, Activision will most likely not allow that. So it's going to be it's going to come upon the developer to decide, okay, this game, will benefit if we have a mouse and keyboard, maybe a single player game or whatever. We'll talk about that a little bit because I have some ideas for that. And then they also said another reason they want to do this is it's going to first off allow you to do the more UI type stuff and internet type stuff easier, which makes a lot of sense to me. And also something I didn't think about, they said it's a helpful solution for players with accessibility considerations, meaning maybe somebody can't utilize a controller the same way somebody else can. Yeah. Maybe, for instance, they might not have thumbs or something. Mouse and keyboard would give them access to being able to play the game, which I think is actually really cool. That's something I did not think of. So what do you think about mouse and keyboard finally making its way to Xbox and pretty much to consoles? Some other games have used it, but not to the same degree. And what do you think people are going to use it for? Do you think developers are going to be open to this? Do you think people are going to be receptive to it? And how do you think they can handle potentially putting in games that might be multiplayer?
Okay, so as far as the implementation on the hardware itself, I'm actually surprised it wasn't already there because PlayStation 2 had it.
Yeah.
Right off the bat. And PlayStation 3. But a large part of that was just because they handled peripherals, just as a USB, the same way PC did. I'm surprised. That's why I'm kind of surprised that this is not actually part of this yet. I think in some regards it makes sense because, like, for example, when I played Final Fantasy 11 on the PlayStation 2, I used a keyboard and mouse because it was just better than using a controller. And I think in that instance, it makes sense to let people do that kind of stuff. So MMOs and whatnot, cooperative games as well. I think in competitive games, and obviously it's up to the developer, but I think that is a horrible idea.
In cooperative games, I don't think there's really an argument to be made unless you just really don't like the idea of someone you're playing with cooperatively having an edge on you aim-wise. But the competitive stuff is going to be difficult. This is something I've been thinking about, though, and if they were to implement this, I think they would have to split up servers or at least create different rooms so that people on controllers are playing against people on controllers and people on keyboards are only playing against people on keyboards, or have a room that allows people to know and decide if they want to go up against people, like, just free for all. Like, people can use whatever the fuck they want, but you can't release a game that's gonna mix the two without having backlash, because you're going to be putting not necessarily people against higher skilled people, but people with more ability to do things that a controller can't do.
Let the keyboard and mouse people play with the PC community.
Sure.
And let the controller people play with the console community.
I think people with controllers, though, should be able to opt into that if they want, though.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because choices, sure, and I get that. You shouldn't tell them they can't do it if the ability is there.
Because you don't want to split up the community too much.
I do think by default it should not be that way.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But my only thing is I've played, and I wouldn't recommend it, but I've played a couple PC games online with a controller just to see what it'd be like, and I did pretty good, honestly. I wasn't doing awesome. I would have done better with a mouse. But like in a lot of games where you start kind of getting used to how a controller feels, and you start playing differently than you do with a mouse and keyboard. Mouse and keyboard is about quick movements and aiming as quick as you can, whereas a controller is about those slow adjustments of moving your character, and you get really used to strafing and shooting to get those shots quickly. Right. And I was doing that. So not saying that they should do that, but I'm saying it's not impossible. So someone with a controller might go like, fuck these guys. I still am going to play with them, blah, blah, blah. So I think it'd be cool if there's the option, but absolutely they need to make sure by default they're not playing against people like that.
Right.
Because people aren't going to have a good time.
And as far as the part about people who may not be able to use a controller, yeah, I mean, that's great. I always love seeing even stories of peripheral companies modifying a controller for someone's needs and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, we all want to play games, and everyone should be able to. And I'm glad that people want to come up with these ideas and whatnot to do that for people, because you're opening something up for them they didn't have access to, and that's wonderful.
There's a financial incentive as well, though, just to make sure you're getting more people, but at the same time there has to be a morality issue there as well. Like, people must feel good doing that. I always say, anytime it comes up, not that I'm having this conversation that often, but every once in a while someone will be like, if you lost anything, what would you rather lose? I'm like, my foot.
Oh yeah.
I'd rather not be able to walk correctly than not be able to do many of my hobbies, one of them being video games. Obviously, this is a video game channel, so I play plenty of them. It'd be very rough, and I probably would try and find a different way to fucking play the game if I couldn't, because that's how much I'd want to play those games.
For sure.
So giving people those options is always awesome, because I'm not in that situation, so I can't imagine how frustrating and shitty that would be to not be able to partake in something that you love.
Well, and that so many people, I mean, their friends are doing, are playing, and they would love to do that with their friends.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. At the end of the day, like they said, it's up to the developers, and so the developers, it's on them to make sure it's done in a way that is not advantageous for one person or another.
Well, and I like that they're giving it. They're saying that that it's there, and developers get to choose. I like that, because that's a case by case basis. It's not Xbox enforcing anyone on anyone, which is something they really like to do. So it's good they're giving them that freedom. I think it's the best way they could do it, and I 100% think it's great that they're adding it. To be able to use that even for mundane shit like looking in their store for a game to buy or something like that. You can just type it in faster. I mean, it's just ease of use. It's a better way to do it.
Absolutely. I mean, we were talking about it before we started shooting. I've been looking into getting a little Bluetooth keyboard for my TV just to make that kind of stuff a little faster. So
yeah, because I mean, other than that, the easiest way to do it is talk into something. But I prefer to type. I don't really like talking to my electronics all too much. I know.
I like it.
I know you've embraced it. I rarely use it. Anything else you want to say on that?
No.
All right, let's know in the comments. What do you think about mouse and keyboards on any console at all? Do you think it's going to work out on Xbox? How do you think they should handle it? Do you think they're handling it correctly? And would you use it? Let us know. Third bit news.
Bandai Namco's Code Vein, which is an anime vampire Soulsborne game. They came out on Twitter and said that they're adding co-op. You have to fulfill certain conditions, and essentially the player will appear alone and can help you clear a dungeon and then stay as a party member. They will be affected by the NPC special perks called gifts. And with that, they basically mean when you're playing the game by yourself, you have an NPC partner. And when you call for help, they take over that character. So what do you think about them adding multiplayer to the game? And do you think the way they're handling it is good, or would you like to have seen a different way?
So you're taking over their NPC.
Yes.
Okay, so first off, I think it's good they're adding multiplayer. I also think it's really interesting that they've emphasized multiple times that they listened to the fans saying they wanted it. So, or potential fans saying that they want it. So it sounds like they added it after the fact. I don't know if that's true or not, but if they did, that's actually really cool.
Yeah.
I do kind of find it to be a standard in this series or genre now, just because Neo did it. All the Souls games have done it to some extent. So it's something that I kind of expect. So it's cool they're doing it. I don't like that you're taking over their NPC though. If they did it last minute, it makes sense they're doing it that way. Right. And it is helping somebody, but hopefully there's some kind of incentive for the person helping. Hopefully they get something, because Fable 2 did something similar to this that I was not a fan of. When you play with your friend, you want to progress with your friend, or at least get something with your friend. You want to share the experience, not just kind of, some people want to just help their friend or whatever. They have fun playing that. But nowadays, most people want some kind of progression.
I would say I definitely would not want to be your cat while you were killing monsters, and then I had to go back to my character and get nothing.
That's a great point. So, exactly. Yeah. I might do it if my friend's like, dude, I can't fucking handle this. Like, can you get in here and help me? I'd be like, okay. And then if we failed like twice, there'd be no incentive for me to be like, okay, let's keep doing this. I'd just be like, dude, fucking figure it out, man. I don't want to play your fucking Palico. This isn't fun.
Yeah.
So that's a really good point. Thoughts?
I'm glad they're adding multiplayer. Like you said, it's a standard at this point. It does sound like they're throwing it in, which I don't want to complain too much, because it's there. The option is available for people. I'm sure a lot of people who are looking at this game, they wanted that, but they've been keeping an eye on the game anyways. So it's just kind of extra for them. I hope that, if the game is good and does well enough, that if and when they make a sequel to it, they have a more customizable multiplayer experience. So,
and I would assume they would, if the game's successful and people want that. It has to take a certain kind of company to go, no, we're not gonna do that. Fuck that, that's stupid. But yeah, anything else on that? I think it's cool. I think it's
really the big thing there is how they're handling it.
Yeah.
And I think we both kind of agree that it's cool it's there. We just wish it was our character instead of an NPC character. So.
Yeah, it's always kind of frustrating when someone is taking a step in the right direction but they don't fully nail it. It's not like, frustrating like, oh, fuck, why didn't they do that? Missed opportunity. But like, they just took a little bit more time and put more incentive into it to make it more interesting. I would go from like, we'll see how it goes to, oh, that's awesome. So that's just the difference. But who knows? They might allow certain things to carry over. So
you maybe like earn a currency or something like that.
Or earn some kind of item that you can use in your game. Dark Souls has done things like that before. Or if you go in and kill somebody, you get something. So maybe they'll do something like that.
We'll see.
I don't know. Time will tell. Let us know in the comments. What do you think about them adding co-op? Do you think it's going to work out well? Are you interested in playing as a random NPC to help your friend out? And how do you feel about that? Do you feel like you need incentives and progression to play a co-op game? Or do you like just the experience alone and that's enough? Let us know. Fourth and last bit of news is a chunk of news. So bear with me as I go through a lot of this information. So Rainbow Six Siege is going into its third year, and they recently have backed what they've already said, saying that they want this game to last 10 years. They're not interested in making a Rainbow Six Siege 2. They want, by the time they're done, to have at the least 100 new operators, which is fucking crazy. And also interesting that I kind of, said in prior episodes, they don't need to make a sequel. They just continue this. So they're on the same page, which is great. With the third year, Operation Chimera is coming out. It's an update. That's the next one. It will be releasing the Outbreak mode, which we'll get into in a sec. It'll also be coming with a new PvP mode called Pick and Ban. It says the mode allows each team to ban their opponents from choosing 2 operators of their choice for the entire match. The catch is your team also is banned. There's typo there. From choosing those 2 operators for the match, as well as the 2 your opponents pick. In addition, both team lineups will be revealed to all players at the start of each round. However, you'll then have the chance to repick one operator without the enemy seeing. They'll have to identify that player in the usual ways using drones and cameras. Finally, it appears Pick and Ban will allow you to choose your spawn point before you choose your operator rather than afterwards as it is currently. So new game mode is coming out. Let's just talk about point by point. What do we think about that?
I think that's a really cool sounding mode, actually. It really kind of mixes it up. I like the fact that you get to pick 2 and then sneak one of them the other way. So you still are kind of left guessing which one is true, which one's not, if they even decided to change it. I also think it's cool that they make you pick the spawn point first, because then you might have this plan, like, I'm going to play this character. This is the best place to start with that character. And then all of a sudden that character's not available.
It's a cutoff, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's also interesting, too, that when you take your 2 out, you also don't get to play them.
Yeah, so I mean, really, at the end, 4 operators unusable.
Yeah, which with that amount of operators anyway, it's fine. But it's kind of a smart tactic, because maybe like you're kind of weak at like this operator, but you know a lot of people are really good at it, or you playing the same guys on like repeat, and they did really good with this dude, and you're like, we don't really need this guy so much, and you cut him out.
Yeah.
There's a tactic before you get into the tactical gameplay.
I think it's neat. I think it also adds an element of skill, because it forces you to kind of think on your feet a little more.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think it's neat.
I think it's cool too. I also like that they are adding new PvP modes, because I think the game does need them. Nothing like Call of Duty or whatever. I want to stay tactical, but to keep the games fresh and interesting, definitely need stuff like this. I'm interested in trying it. I think it's awesome. I'm interested in trying it. I don't know if I will stay in it very long, though, because I like the traditional gameplay more. But I definitely want to try it. I'm really interested in it. So, yeah, that's that part. Let us know in the comments what you think about that. Second part of this Operation Chimera is there's 2 new operators coming out. We have Finka, which is a Russian operator, and Leon, which is a French operator. The Finka is pretty much like an attacking form of Doc. If you're familiar with Doc, he's a dude who can bring people back up and heal people. It says she comes equipped with a stim pen that applies a 20 HP health point boost to both herself and every teammate for 20 seconds. It even revives any downed allies wherever they are on the map. In addition, each of the 3 adrenal surges grants the team a movement and reload speed buff for the same period, as well as a reduction in recoil and resistance to stun effects. Be warned, however, the health boost, like Doc, slowly depletes back to normal HP level. If you get hit while buffed to below 20 HP, you will be immediately downed when the buff ends.
Okay, so temporary hit points.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, talking about her real quick, this pretty much sounds like something you're going to want to pop before you breach a room. So all your dudes are buffed and ready to go. It doesn't last very long, but it seems like in the right circumstance, if you're like lining up on the door or whatever, and you hit it and then go in, you're going to have an edge on the dudes ready to shoot at you.
I mean, it's essentially berserking.
Yeah.
Which is neat. It's the risk versus reward factor, I think, with that character, which is cool. I like to play safer characters myself, but that kind of stuff really can make or break a situation, though, so that's cool.
Yeah. And I think it's cool, but it also, I'll have to see how it works, but it seems a slight lean into the like Overwatch territory, though, of having like a buff that does that much stuff, but I haven't seen it in action, but I, hope they keep the game more realistic in a sense. So not saying that's unrealistic, but that's definitely quite the buff. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see. Leon, another 2-speed, 2-armor attacker, shakes things up in a rather more dramatic way. His gadget is the EE-1D drone, and it can be used up to 3 times per round to scout out the positions of every moving member of the opposing team. Activating it not only supplies HUD markers showing you and your team which operators opposing players have picked, along with their locations, but your squad will also see those players' exact outlines for 4 seconds. This let me pop a headshot through a wall on more than one occasion, and it proved a powerful tool in both racking up kills and discovering which areas of the map enemies were hiding. The counter is that both teams receive a 3-second countdown after the drone is triggered, but before its X-ray vision comes into effect. This allows the defending team a moment to stop what they're doing, lie still, and wait for the drone's scan to pass, meaning they'll remain undetected. So again, they kind of got those pros and cons, which I think is kind of cool. I really like the idea that this dude for a split second got like the image of a dude through a wall and just shot him in the head.
Yeah.
That's actually really fucking cool. It doesn't sound OP. It sounds pretty interesting. And I do like that people know this is coming so that they can kind of prepare for this fucking surveillance drone.
I think that's what that makes this, because at first I was like, that sounds cheesy.
Yeah. Oh, if it was like instant, you're like, oh, you can just like shoot everybody in the fucking room.
3 times a match. I mean, that's crazy.
That's a lot. That'd be a lot.
But yeah, having a warning is great, because then it gives like it says, you have to be moving for it to even detect you.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good balance. It sounds good.
Especially in this game, people don't really run and gun a whole lot.
Yeah.
You'll get into a room where like the whole team will just rush or whatever, and that happens randomly. But like a lot of times, people are like holding up in spots, and like even the attackers will like get to a certain spot and just kind of wait it out for a second, and then fucking
wait for footprints or footstep sounds and stuff like
something.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, they both sound cool. I'm glad they're still able to come up with stuff, even though like
they got a lot to make too still.
Yeah, well, and it's funny because obviously they're inspired by things they already have, but they've been tweaked to still be original, which is good.
And my biggest fear with especially 100 operators is making certain operators obsolete.
Yeah.
Of course, there's going to be ones that are less used than other ones. Of course, always in every game ever, but. If you start making characters a little too close to other ones, they start becoming less useful. So far they haven't done that, and they're doing a great job. I'm just curious on how much of the creative juices are going to continue until they start not reskinning, but kind of reshaping characters they've already done.
Well, in the same vein as like Warframe as well, though, if they get too far ahead and some of their older operators aren't relevant anymore, hopefully they can go back and retool them.
Definitely. And Warframe's a great example of people creating new ideas constantly and balancing it out as they go. So I mean, like, there's definitely examples of people doing this and doing it well, and MOBAs are a great example of it as well too.
For sure.
Because they pump out fucking characters left and right. That's kind of the whole fucking thing. So they're kind of taking after that, and I think they'll be able to nail it. I keep thinking of like a first-person shooter with 100 fucking characters, and it's kind of blowing my mind.
Yeah.
Because I can't think of one like that except for like Time Splitters, and that was only a visual thing.
And someday Warframe at this rate.
Yeah, they're working towards that. I wonder how many Warframes there are, or how many frames. I have to look that up sometime. Yeah. Let us know in the comments what do you think about that game mode and the 2 new operators, and if you're playing Siege. Now, last piece of this news is the Outbreak co-op is coming out with it, which is something that they have not done, and apparently they put a lot of work into. It's going to be similar to kind of Left 4 Dead and Call of Duty Zombie mode, where you're going to be going through a map and completing objectives, defending certain people, using the fortification tools that are in the game by reinforcing windows and doors, stuff like that. And yeah, this guy says Outbreak feels distinct from traditional Siege gameplay, eschewing the usual attack-defend dynamic in favor of more explorative scenarios. In Hospital, for example, you must escort Dr. McIntosh around the veteran's wing for her hospital while simultaneously collecting samples, defending jammed doors, and escaping the building alive. Junkyard and Resort, on the other hand, see you safeguarding explosives as you attempt to destroy the visible signs, columns of miscellaneous alien matter of the zombies' infestation. This is as close to traditional siege as Outbreak gets. You still barricade doors and reinforce walls, albeit with much faster animations to account for the increased number of enemies, and can lay Capkin, who's the operator if you don't know, traps, and claymores. It's here that Outbreak feels much like earlier Call of Duty games, Nazi Zombies maps. However, these periods are brief. You usually need only need to defend that position for a minute or two before moving on to the next objective. So we pretty much get a gist of it. They also say it starts feeling like Left 4 Dead in between the parts where you're defending. What do we think about this? And well, we should probably just watch the videos first before we talk about it.
Sure.
All right. So you guys got the information. We're going to watch the videos in 3, 2, 1, go. So dark, a lot of flashing lights, eerie vibe. Something I don't really expect from Rainbow Six. New models.
Honestly, it definitely looks like they spent some time on it.
Yeah. This looks fucking cool. I like zombie mode in Call of Duty, but like I never stick with it. But like Siege already is kind of this gameplay. Wow, it's fucking crazy.
Everything's so spiky.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like aliens. I don't think they want to go full on zombies. Ooh, I'm actually kind of pumped. That looked dope as shit. February 20th.
So now, as of recording.
As of recording, yeah. So I mean today. Fuck. Okay, I gotta download that.
Well, actually, as of release.
Yeah.
It's a little early.
Yeah, so that was the trailer. We have another video to watch, but thoughts on that?
It does look like they had said that they had spent some time on it. It looks like it, and I'm glad.
Yeah, I figured they were just kind of like
be real easy to slap in,
do the same game, same maps, and just have monsters come at you.
I'd be curious to see like an actual match, just because depending on what it is, it might change my interest in it. I do like the aspect of it being kind of like Left 4 Dead where there's objectives and stuff like that. I like that. I'm not so much into the idea of it being like Call of Duty Zombies, just because I've always felt it's kind of pointless.
Yeah.
So, but I do like the objective aspect of Left 4 Dead. Same with like Vermintide. Those kind of games.
Definitely.
So
yeah, if it's more in that vein, fucking, I'm gonna be really excited.
Yeah, I'd probably play it then.
Yeah.
So.
Also, if there's some kind of progression, or if you just got like the same amount of progression and money that you'd get playing like Terrorist Hunt,
oh yeah,
I think that'd be awesome.
That would be smart
because it'd be just another way to play the game. So, and yeah, I hope it'd be in a way that you'd want to play it because I know you're pretty comfortable playing Rainbow Six Siege. It has a good pace to it that kind of is slower and more methodical than run around a corner and get shot from every direction.
As much as I like Titanfall 2, I am way out of my element.
Okay, next video for Outbreak is Outbreak gameplay and tips, also by Ubisoft. So let's watch it. 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome to Truth or Consequences, New Mexico.
Here's the
This
gameplay.
sleepy desert town is ground zero for Outbreak.
Wow,
a
this is
special
actually like a
Rainbow
full-on
Six
map.
Siege co-op
Yeah.
event that pits your team of up to 3 intrepid operators against hordes of, well, these guys.
Dude, if they can release shit like
Do
this,
everything in their power to stop you from
new ways to
accomplishing your
play it for
objectives
10
as you
years, I
follow
think
the story
they
of
fucking
Team Rainbow's
like
efforts
do
to
fine.
quell the carnage and uncover the truth. So you'll need to adapt your tactics if you want to survive.
This is like a completely different game.
Yeah.
Because the infected are coming for you. Sure, they might look like they're just standing around having a bad time, but if you can't take them out before they spot you, you're gonna have a bad time. Equipping a suppressor can help you sneak through
So there's an
certain
incentive
areas
to
without
stealth.
causing a fuss.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
But sooner or later,
it seems like
some
the spikes
grunt
come
is
when they're
gonna
like
pop off
enraging
and text
almost.
all their grunt buddies to come swarm you. But other enemies won't be so direct. Bubble-backed breachers love to leap around, looking to explode themselves next to you or destroy your reinforcements.
This
Keep an eye out
looks
for
fucking
telltale
dope.
bubbles on the wall, and make them respect your personal space with a quick melee hit if they get too close. You'll also have to contend with rooters, who zip around evasively and hassle you with spikes conjured from below, which hold you in place until
lot of varied
you or a
locations,
teammate
too.
can shoot the offending rooter.
This is looking really fucking
Then
cool.
there's
Right
the
up my alley.
apex.
Did you just say that
just
they
kinda hang
continue?
back, making
Yeah.
you weaker and making every enemy stronger, and occasionally splashing you in the face with uncanny smoke that would make smoke jealous. And the Smasher? Well, it's right there in the name. It can't see you, but it sure can hit you or run you right over.
Can't see
Try
you.
luring it into ramming itself into a wall so you can more easily shoot or stab it right in the weak spot. If you and your teammates
Some more
manage to
strategy
complete
involved.
Outbreak on normal
Yeah.
difficulty, take a whack at Pandemic, where friendly fire and more numerous enemies make things extra
Well, that
tough.
sounds fucking awful.
No matter which difficulty level you
Well,
take
it's cool
on,
though because this kind of
choosing
game
your
brings in people who want
operators
to play
from a carefully
strategically.
curated
So
group
it
with
adds like
gadgets
that
and weaponry to give you an edge in the crisis.
hardcore
Choose
mode.
Doc for his super clutch stim pistol. Take Smoke and his beauties to hold the hordes at bay, and then bring Finka to juice you up so you can gun them
Which
down.
is the new.
Finka is one of the new Operation Chimera operators, and Lion is the other. His drone can scan the area
I
and
knew,
show
French
I
to
enemies
the
knew
own.
they were going to call him
but
Lion.
remember,
Yeah.
you've only got 3 slots on the team. You can run it with less than 3, but it gets much, much harder. Unless you happen to be some sort of siege
I'm playing
deity
the
with
fuck out of
godlike
this.
powers of destruction.
3 is such a weird number.
Yeah.
Outbreak will be available for a limited time only, 4 weeks from March 6th to April 3rd on all platforms. And while it may seem strange at first to fire so many bullets so frequently in Rainbow Six Siege, you'll soon have a new appreciation for LMGs and shotguns and basically anything that shoots bullets at these horrible abominations. For more on Rainbow Six Siege,
Good
subscribe
one,
to our
dude.
YouTube channel and visit us at news.ubisoft.com.
I think it's weird that it's going to be limited though. I don't buy it.
It reminds me of the Overwatch events.
Yeah, but they put a lot of fucking work into that for 4 weeks.
Yeah. I imagine it'll come back from time to time. There's no way it's disappearing forever.
Yeah.
They're doing that so it doesn't get stale.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if they're going to do it and then keep it away for a little bit and then release it again and then eventually just release it as a full-on thing.
Possibly. I also see them, as much as I'm not a huge fan of it, I get why they do it. Do the Overwatch thing and eventually create multiple different types of event type things that'll pop up to keep you playing throughout the year.
Yeah, and if they did that, eventually it'd make sense. But Overwatch isn't like making whole brand new travel from point A to point B maps with new animations and shit. They're like changing the rule sets and maybe some of the physics of gravity. Potentially, I don't know. I don't play Overwatch very often. And maybe, reskinning a couple things. That's something a lot easier than creating like a whole new fucking mode.
Sure.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's the only way I can see like the seasonal, not seasonal even, temporary events, unless they just do this one over and over again, hopefully multiple times throughout the year at this point.
Yeah, I would hate if it's once a year. And the only reason I'm skeptical is I've seen other FPSs already release like a timed mode that comes out and they're like, you only have this much time to play it, and then like it's almost like a beta test to see if people want it, and then they'll release it eventually. I've seen it happen with FPSs.
Well, and while it's down, any feedback they get, they can modify it without people being in the middle playing it.
Yeah,
So.
which makes sense. Overall, though, any thoughts, change, or whatever? Seeing the gameplay.
I mean, it looks interesting. I still, like I said, I kind of want to see like a match played out, not just little snippets. I mean, it looks cool, it looks fun, it looks it's got nice. It seems like it has a nice blend between action and strategy, which is cool. I just need to know. I personally need to know more before being interested, but I think it is a great addition to the game.
Definitely. I can't wait to play it. I'm going to go download it like right now if I can. Because I want to play it. Let us know in the comments. What do you think about the Outbreak mode? Are you interested in playing it? Do you think it belongs in Rainbow Six Siege? What do you think about it being timed for 4 weeks? What do you think the plan with that is going to be? And yeah, let me know your overall thoughts on all the things we've talked about. And yeah, I think it's going to do it for this episode of Taste Tuesday on Tasty Loot Gaming. As always, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook at Tasty Loot Gaming. Check out the streams on Twitch. I'm at Tasty Senpai, all one word. Watch them there. I upload them to the channel if you miss them. And if you do go to Twitch and you follow me, make sure to hit the bell button. I know a lot of you guys have been having problems getting notifications, which kind of sucks because I get people like, oh, are you going to stream tonight? I'm like, I am streaming. And then they're like, oh, it doesn't tell me that. It's happened a million times now. So if you do that, hit the bell and you'll get notified.
You can also follow him on Twitter. It pops up on there.
Yeah. Which is Tasty Loot Gaming. And yeah, I think that's about it. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
Until the next episode, which will be Friday, Tastecast, talking about a bunch of random shit. Make sure to play Plus games, play the game of the month. We're going to be talking about that next week. And yeah, until then, have a good week, guys, and take it easy.